All right, guys. So I'm officially worried about the Atlanta Falcons staff that they're kind of putting together under Raheem Morris. Very, very worried about the staff. They end up going with a risky hire in Zac Robinson. They're going to need an experienced offensive line coach and an experienced wide receivers coach in Los Angeles, because Zac Robinson's been a QB coach. I guess maybe he could stem from Zach Taylor, but now you're giving Zac Robinson. Zac Robinson, I guess you can point to Bobby Slowick, and that's the example that they're going to point to. That's the example you can point to. He is young, could be innovative, but again, even Zach Taylor needed to have, Joe Burrow and Brian Callahan at quarterback and offensive coordinator to be successful. Now, C.J. Stroud with Bobby Slowick has been good. Dave Canales is a first-time offensive coordinator. Like, some of these guys have really worked out, but it's a cautionary tale, because you also look at Mike LaFleur, who also came from San Francisco, had to work with Zach Wilson, did not work out well there either. Zac Robinson's 37 years old. He's been with the Rams, though, I'll say that, for about 5 years. So in 2019, he's been there. And so it's a risky hire, but maybe it can pan out. They're going to have to get quarterback right. Like, if I were Atlanta, I would probably go ahead and draft Bo Nix. But Raheem Morris is not really, he worked with wide receivers, but it's all about developing quarterback. And if I was Atlanta, I would have tried to hire Ben Johnson. I would have hired Bobby Slowick. I would have hired a proven offensive guy to go in there, because really their defense, if they kept Ryan Nielsen, their defensive line's pretty dang good. And also, their safeties and cornerback, their defense is good enough to actually win that division. It's not a great defense by any means. They could be a just above average defense. When they ran up against good quarterbacks last year, they got torn apart. Josh Dobbs tore them apart. Derek Carr late in the year, Justin Fields. Now, maybe the team eventually gave in, all right, but Kyler Murray in his first game back absolutely had whatever he wanted, but it was also Ryan Nielsen's first year as a defensive coach. Now, as a defensive coordinator, they hired Jimmy Lake. Now, Jimmy Lake worked under Chris Peterson, was good as an assistant coach at Washington. As a head coach, he was a disaster in 2 years there. They ended up getting rid of him. So, as a head coach, Jimmy Lake at Washington, he just flat out just wasn't very good. That's objective. He was objectively bad. All right. So you're now building the staff of all people that are from the LA Rams. I want Raheem Morris to also get some, outside influences from outside of the LA Rams family, because they end up, they take on Jimmy Lake. They're building assistants from outside of the LA Rams, but really I would have wanted to get like a Shane Bowen as a defensive coordinator. Shane Bowen was a D coordinator with the Tennessee Titans. I think that there's really, really good defensive coaches that are out on this market. Maybe even Brandon Staley can be like a solid defensive coordinator for you. Again, just adding that influence. So again, like, Atlanta has to add. They have to add on defense. They have to have outside the box thinkers to get the most out of this defense. And I'm worried about Jimmy Lake as a defensive coordinator. I'm very, very, very worried. I think he comes mostly from the college ranks. And so they're building a lot of people from this defensive staff in LA. So we'll see about Jimmy Lake. Now, he was with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Okay, so that's where Raheem Morris. Okay, so he has familiarity with Raheem Morris. So, okay, he has a lot of familiarity with Raheem, which I guess can be good. I'm just more worried maybe about Zac Robinson, and again, I want some outside influences here on the staff at the other positions. Zac Robinson has to do a ton of heavy lifting because they're going to have to draft. They're going to either have to trade up to get a quarterback. And I don't think any of these quarterbacks are as good as C.J. Stroud. In fact, I know that, only Caleb Williams can be just as good. Everybody else is not going to be as good as C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud is really consistent. And C.J. Stroud is just a very accurate passer, has all the tools. And that's maybe why Bobby Slowick was that successful. I mean, Slowick did create really good scheme. They didn't have a ton of weapons to work with. I think that Bo Nix is the best, fit for the Atlanta Falcons. But how is Zac Robinson going to do as an offensive coordinator at 37? Hasn't ever called a play. I mean, incredibly risky hire. I'm trying to think of the other offensive coordinators that are out there. I mean, you could have gotten Kellen Moore, who's called plays before. Ken Dorsey has also called plays before. Ken Dorsey's very experienced. You didn't choose to go with any experience. So you're dealing with a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach. And I know that it's worked out. I know that it worked out with Slowick. I mean, Dave Canales also didn't have a rookie. He had Baker Mayfield. So I wonder maybe if Atlanta's actually going to maybe they'll go get Kirk Cousins at quarterback. I'm trying to kind of figure out who they want to pair with Zac Robinson, because if they pair a rookie quarterback, and then in that room you have Desmond Ridder and Heineke, I mean, Case Keenum was a huge, underrated part of why C.J. Stroud was also successful. You want to have some veterans around Atlanta if you're going to build this thing right. So Raheem Morris, I think, was an okay hire. I mean, he's 21-38, but I know that a lot of that was with the Bucs in a really tough situation, and also with Atlanta dealing with Dan Quinn and a lot of cap casualties on that football roster there in 2020. So I'm just a little bit worried about Atlanta. Not every staff in the NFL you're going to have some teams win and some teams are going to fall behind. And again, you could say I'm biased, and yeah, I like Arthur Smith, and I'm excited for him to be an offensive coordinator somewhere, and I want to see him get another shot as a head coach. I think that he can learn and become even better, Arthur Smith, with the lessons that he's learned. But I really would have kept Nielsen and Smith together. I really would have, and let Smith get maybe Kirk Cousins, and maybe let him get a rookie quarterback as well. You could go with Kirk Cousins, and then you can maybe draft like a Bo Nix. You have a succession plan at quarterback. That's probably what I would end up doing. Alrighty, guys, let me know what y'all are thinking about this Falcons staff that's coming together. I'm honestly very worried about the staff. I am. Alrighty, guys, take care.